Let's be honest. Comparison is killing your creativity. One thing that I've noticed as creators and just photographers and videographers is the comparison really just kills that creativity and ambition when it comes down to just creating your art. And honestly, that's probably one of the things that I try to tell young photographers and students of mine that know that I do photography, that stop comparing yourself and the progress that others made, because in reality, it's just killing your creativity to go out to simply create. And to be honest, it's easier said than done, because at the end of the day, it's very easy to scroll on social media, see the comparisons of more established photographers taking really great photos, the locations that they get to visit, that sometimes it's a little bit discouraging for our own creation. And honestly, that's something that I myself did a lot at the beginning of my photo career, to be honest, where I would compare myself to people that inspired me. And instead of using that inspiration to help me get more creative, I let it sometimes consume myself to just kind of feel bad about where I was in the chapter of my photography skill. Sometimes we just have to realize that everybody's at their own chapter, and that's something that helped me out to just not compare myself to the other photographers and content creators that I admire, but instead use that as a drive to just get better and try to see what they were doing with their composition, the lighting, and use that as inspiration rather than comparison. Because it's very easy to see that they're taking some amazing photos just being out and about in cool locations, and like, for example, myself just being here in my backyard right now, because I'm not able to travel just yet. I do have travels going on soon enough, but I could be, feeling down about my photography and everything because I haven't been able to get those, amazing shots that you could get at, let's say, Chicago, New York City, London, big cities like that, since I don't live there. And if I keep doing that, I'll just stop wanting to create instead of just going ahead and practice my craft, even here at the comfort of my home in my backyard, just to simply take photos and just have a good day practicing. And that might be just my athleticism of competitiveness that I've had since I was a young kid, since I've played tennis since I was 5 years old, competed since as early as 7, played national tournaments and everything, that I always wanted to strive to get better. And one thing that helped me out as an early age was not to compare myself to other kids that have played longer, but simply see that if they've reached that potential already, I'm able to do that myself, since if they can do it, so can I. And what did I do? I simply went ahead and started practicing, whether it was against the wall, whether it was with somebody, or just anything that I could to just get better. And that's what I choose to do with my photography, because I know that I can just go ahead and pick up my camera, whether it's to take portraits just in my backyard or go find a park nearby or anything in between. It's better than simply just comparing myself to my favorite creators. I love people like Monares, Billy D, Shorestash, and other creators that have amazing photos, which seems that they do it all the time, but I also noticed that they've been doing it a lot longer than I have. They've been living in great places that they can take amazing photos and learn from other creators and collaborate with them. And simply my way of learning is just to watch other creators. Sometimes I have to do with social media as I'm scrolling through to see what they're up to, since I can't physically be there where they're at to collaborate and learn from them. But it's better to just go ahead and, better myself as well by studying their techniques. I get to see that the way that they use the light, the compositions, and the thought process behind their photos as much as I can when I'm viewing them, that whenever I see their photos, I kind of start thinking to myself, how do I feel with this photo? How could I go to do that myself when I look at my photos, and as well what other people could maybe see? And that's what I tend to do more now than compare myself to others. I just try to simply learn from it and think that's something that can help you as a content creator. And don't get me wrong, of course, I'm always going to be a little bit jealous of what they can do with their craft, because they are amazing creators and there's so much talent out there when it comes down to a lot of content creators on social media. But if I would let that consume me and make me feel inferior every time of how good they can do their craft, I would just honestly not even be doing it. And that's how I view it. I tell my students, even at my tennis academy, that regardless if somebody has been doing it longer than you or not, and they're doing better than you at that time, doesn't mean that you cannot reach that level. It just means you might have to either work at it harder or sometimes just find different techniques that can help you improve. but never give up, because giving up sometimes is a lot easier than simply putting in the work to get better. And the comparison is what takes that motivation and drive away. I've noticed it for myself at the beginning of my career, especially doing these YouTube videos, seeing other creators that I would see weren't even relatively that big, but they had, you know, a little bit bigger following, that I was like, wow, how can they be getting these views? How could they be getting, you know, these subscribers? And it got to the point where I learned to let go of that. And now I focus on my own numbers. I focus on how can I be better than I was yesterday? How can I create better content than I did previously, just to push my own boundaries where I feel like I'm getting better and get inspired by others, not compared where it drives away my motivation, but simply it drives it to where I can get a lot more closer to the goals that I want to get to as a content creator. And that's ultimately what I like to do with my content creation, is just to simply get the content that makes me feel proud of myself, of my progression and what I'm learning to get better at. And I stop comparing myself. So if you're at that stage in your career where you feel like nothing is going your way and you feel like you're honestly just not progressing how you wish you would, it's that struggle that everybody goes through at the end of the day. Some people call it imposter syndrome. Some people just call it negativity or whatever you want to go with. But at the end of the day, it's a common ground that despite of that struggle, there is always a little bit upwards hill battle as you get to the higher ground that you can get. Like Obi-Wan Kenobi said, I got the higher ground. It's over.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
But enough Star Wars references. We're gonna go inside because it is kind of getting hot out here. And as much as I love to practice my craft, I also don't want to sweat right now. So let's go inside because it's kind of a little too hot out there. And I mean, I think we're almost done with this video because I know it can be sometimes a little bit of a rant, but why I like doing these videos, and I've talked about it before, is that it helps working on my compositions and skills to just make a video different than simply just sitting down in one location and talking about it. I like to challenge myself a little bit here and there whenever I have the time. And today was a good day since the subject really is something that resonates with me, and hope that it can resonate with other people as well, because it's very important to make sure that you can grow in your arts and craft with your skill, because everybody tends to compare themselves to the greatest and best, but you have to write your own chapters. So it's time to stop comparing yourself to others and simply go ahead and practice your craft. You need to just go ahead, put no excuses, and just deal with the situation that's dealt to you. I like to complain sometimes, honestly, about the location being boring and how I can't find creativity and motivation. But I know that if those great artists would come to my city, they would find something beautiful. They would find something attractive to just take a photo of. And that's how I try to view things now, is that I go ahead and find something in a different light if I can, to go ahead and get those photos taken, to create art in a different way, as if it was something new to me. Just like if they were here to create content in my city, I would want to feel like how could they do it better, so that I don't put excuses and I don't compare myself to them, but I use them as motivation and inspiration to create the best content that I can. So I hope this video resonates with you and it'll help you find that motivation and stop the comparison, because at the end of the day, it's always good to just go out to practice and learn to improve yourself without comparing yourself to others, so that you can achieve your full potential. But with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share this video with a friend. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.